Welcome in to Nick Patrick's Mailbag, weekly live show right here on Podcast Heat Wrestling. I am your co-host, Cassio, but we are here with the man of the hour, the man of the power, the world's most hated referee, the heel ref himself, NWO for life. Nick Patrick, how are you, brother?
Damn, that was a mouthful, man. I like that world's most hated referee part, though. I like that a lot. Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. Is that a Deep South hat?
That's a Deep South hat. It sure is, man.
That's a good-looking hat.
I got hat hair now. Look at my head. Yeah, that's a Deep South hat. And look at the Deep South pin, too.
Oh, the pin on the side.
Man. Yeah, man.
Those are all available at Deep South.
We got all different kinds of hats. This is one of them. That's one of the many that you can find on Deep South swag on our website.
Yeah, we are hanging out today. We're answering your live questions, so make sure you get those in the chat. We'll get to as many of those as we can. Also, if you'd like to support the show and make sure your comment and question goes to the top, be sure to hit us in those super chats. We will make sure we get those in immediately. Also, if you'd like to interact, make sure you like and subscribe. We have our membership only. You got to be a subscriber to the channel, and it's free. Everything part of that is free. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel, and then, boom, you can drop us any kind of question or comment. A lot of times we forget things. You are there in the comment to save us, so we need your backup. We need your interaction with us.
I know I forget things. I forget my name sometimes.
If you'd like to check out any of our weekly shows, they are up on right here on the Podcast Heat Wrestling YouTube channel. Be sure to check out things like last week we had our first guest, Nick. We had Narcissism on, the Deep South Wrestling champ. We talked to him, had an absolute blast with him and getting to know him and his mindset going into this. How did he fare this past weekend? You guys had an event and he defended the belt. How did it go for him?
He's still the Deep South champion.
Yeah.
So
I was about to say, we're never getting any guests back on if we had them on and they lost.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a bad luck sign, wouldn't it? Yeah, we're going to do that every now and then. Not every time, but I've got some different. I want the people to be able to meet some of the kids that are helping me make Deep South what we're making it right now. And I got some kids that really are next level players, and they just need to be in the right place at the right time, and we're giving them a place to keep rolling until that happens for them. So, we'll have different guests on at different times, but Narcissism was our very first one, and that was a lot of fun. And he's a very interesting young man and extremely talented.
Yeah. So, by the way, if you're a fan of Deep South and you like to request somebody, hit that up in the chat as well. We'll get to those. And we'll take your request and we'll see what we can do and see if we can get on in the future. I know you've got plenty of people, not only the people that currently hold the belts, but you've got a deep roster of super young talent. Like you said, you guys are growing it right there in Atlanta. Yeah. We might even talk to Eric, maybe who's helping you run things there at Deep South. You never know what's going to happen. Stay tuned right here every week. Make sure you turn on those notifications so you'll know when we go live. Nick, I was looking quickly. It was today, the 13th, is Spike Dudley's birthday. Did you ever have much interaction with Spike?
Yeah, Spike is this painting behind me. He's a friend of mine. Him and I used to travel a little bit with him and Little Guido, and he was Nunzio. When I met him, I knew him as Nunzio, but half the guys that knew him from the EC Dub days called him Little Guido. And I became really good friends with those guys. And I ended up getting my own apartment for a while. And I told them when I got my apartment when I was a kid growing up in both my grandma's houses, they both had one of these paintings. And I showed home from the road, and it was right around Christmas time. And I got to my new apartment. And as I went, and there was a note saying, hey, you got something in the office. I was like, oh, hell. And I went in there, and here it was, man. I was like, wow. So that's this painting behind me. It's part of my home now.
It's from Spike.
Yeah, it's from Spike and from Nunzio.
Guida. Yeah. Oh, where did you just meet them when they came to the company and
I met them up in WWE. I didn't know them before then. I didn't know them from ECW. I just met them when I went up there. But I met Nunzio first, and when I got switched over to SmackDown from Raw, and I didn't really know anybody, and I was just now all of a sudden, and he just come right up to me and said, "Hey," introduced himself, and we just hit it off, man. We started riding together, traveling together, and he's a super nice guy and one of the people I consider one of my friends.
Man, that's awesome. Turned 55 today.
Same with Spike Dudley too. Now, same.
Yeah, Spike turning 55 today, so wish
cool.
him the best. My man got slung around a lot, buddy. He took it like a champ.
Oh my goodness, man! You look at some of the highlights that they did of him. It's a miracle that he can even walk right now. I mean, it was just like that's like crazy stuntman stuff that they calculate, and have padding and camera angles for it. And hell, he just said, "Okay, go ahead and throw me." What the hell, man? Jeez. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me to see him being shot out of a cannon. It's like, holy, that'd been the next step that it has to do. Hey, let's shoot you up into the balcony from this cannon. That'd be a great television.
I have a feeling he'd sign up for it. He'd be.
Oh yeah, I think he'd give it a shot, man. He was wild.
Also coming up, August 14th, while we're here, tomorrow, August 14th. Bob Backlund's birthday. Did you ever interact with him any?
Yeah, I met him. This is kind of funny. I was in junior high school, and in my county, we didn't have any amateur wrestling at all. We had, basketball and baseball and football, and that was it. And he was wrestling in Georgia, and they were thinking about starting wrestling, right? So Pop heard about that, and he came to Bob, and he brought him to my junior high school, man. And they had him there for a couple of PE classes, and they brought out mats, and they had us on mats, and all those guys that played ball and stuff that we thought we was in shape. Bob Backlund got on us and had us doing free squats and push-ups and tree shots and push-ups. And man, by the time it was time for us to wrestle each other, we were all so blown, nobody could beat anybody. It's man, it was a really cool experience, and it was an eye opener too. It was like, wow, if you're going to do that, you better get ready to work, man, because that's not something you go play around and do. Yeah. You don't skip practice and then just show up to me for that. You're going to get that ass kicked.
Bob turning 76 tomorrow, of course, Hall of Famer in 2013. Just an incredible run in the WWF and in wrestling business, man. Just an incredible guy. Also, a man I figured you've had some run-ins with before. Tomorrow would have been the birthday for the one and only beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Bobby was such a super nice guy. I don't think I've ever met anybody that had a run-in or a crossword with Bobby. I was super guy, fun guy to be around, an awesome guy to work with too, man. He would ask me to do different things with him, especially at house shows, man. And I one time he had me slam him, and I did it. And Ole
you were
was
the ref.
Yeah. And it was just a spot where he was bitching about doing something that happened, and somehow, I don't even remember how the spot went, but he had me slam him. And I did it, man. And when I come back through the curtain, Ole Anderson was waiting, and he about shit right there, man. He went off on. I'm like, what the hell? He cut a promo on both of us. So we had to extend our high spot shit for a while.
I bet Bobby just sat there and took it and smiled at him and said, all right.
Oh, yeah. Bobby had me slam him before, and he had me arm drag him before. He had me leapfrog him before. I did everything with Bobby, man. And when you thought that first ass chewing would have stopped all that stuff, but we still had spots we had to get in, man.
Man, and I'll tell you this: since Bobby's involved, whatever it was, it looked spectacular. Because
he was one of those guys that was just always such a pleasure to work with. He was so smooth and he could do things that were so high impact it looked like, oh my God. But it just be light as a feather, man. He was a true professional.
Of course, born and from right here in Huntsville, where I am. So well loved here. Like you said, I've had the honor of talking with many people in the wrestling business throughout the past few years. Not one person when Bobby Eaton's name is brought up ever has anything cross to say. Like you said, just an incredible talent. So many wrestlers current day still watching what he did back in the day, of course, with the Midnight Express, Dennis Condrey, of course, and Stan Lane, of course, later with him. But an incredible professional wrestler, beautiful Bobby Eaton, passed away, of course, in 2021, but August 14th. Couldn't pass up a chance to make sure I brought up the Huntsville legend himself, Bobby Eaton. So we'll get to the questions. I knew those names you had run into some of them. I didn't know about Bob. I didn't know if you'd ever run into him, but I knew Bobby.
As a kid, he come down and stretched us all as kids, children. It was awesome. We learned, don't mess with Bob Backlund. Or Joe's dad.
Or Joe's dad.
Yeah, they were scared of him already anyway. And people done followed him home from the matches and knew that it was the assassin's car. It was parked in our driveway. So let's don't mess with him.
That's great. All right, get your questions in. We'll get to as many of those as we can. We got Eric Tate. Eric's in the chat. He said, "Good afternoon, Nick. How come WCW never did a TV taping in Springfield, Missouri at the Shrine Mosque?"
Yeah, I remember working there several times. That was a cool, fun building, man. It was that cool vibe. It was one of those buildings where when you're in the ring and you look out, you could almost you're fairly close to the level with the people on the first row of that balcony, you know. And it was tight. It was one of those older buildings. It's really fun to work. It was. I think we did do TV taping there. If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure if you did or not. Maybe if you were there and didn't do a TV taping, maybe it just wasn't set up good for taping. I'm not sure.
Man, it was a lot older building, and it would have been really hard to have all the equipment there it took to do a TV taping. But we did some really badass house shows there, and they had some good shows there, man. It was fun, yeah. And I was from St. Joe, so I'm an old Missouri guy myself. I was born there. I grew up in Atlanta, but I was born up in Missouri. So, and we went. I worked the Kansas City territory. That's where I first broke in, actually.
Who was running that when you were?
It was owned by Bob Geigel and Harley Race and Pat O'Connor.
All right.
And they ran it. It was Central States Wrestling when I was there, and I graduated high school and we moved back to Missouri for a year. We lived on the road, and I grew up in Georgia. So I was away from all my cousins and aunts and uncles and grandmas and all them. They'd come down and visit once in a while. My grandmas would, but there were people that I hadn't seen since I was a little boy. So after I graduated high school, Pop got a booking job up there, and we just moved up there for a year so we could reconnect all our family and stuff. And we ended up coming back to Atlanta about a year later. But that's where I started, actually. My first time in I did ring announcing as a little kid. Like I was in the 5th grade, and I ring announced at shows before. I was terrified. But as far as getting in the ring and performing and being part of the match as a referee, first time I ever did it was Fort Dodge, Iowa. And I used to go with Pop when I was going to college. I went to college for a year up in St. Joe. And we went to Fort Dodge, and there was a damn blizzard hit. And we made it. And about half of the guys did make it. But there was a bunch of guys that didn't. And so there was an old guy, Ronnie Etchison, old timer. He was an old badass too. But he was going to ref, but he went ahead and wrestled somebody, and they had me ref. And after they saw me ref 1 or 2 matches, I just pretty much did the show. And they asked me if I'd like to do like TVs in a house show once a week. And I was like, hell yeah. So I was going to college, and all of a sudden I was on a little local TV wrestling and getting a house show and traveling with Pop and Rock Hunter and listening to Psychology and meeting them. That's where I met Eddie Gilbert and Easy Ed Wiskowski and a bunch of big, people. I've met Bruiser Brody there and Ted DiBiase there, all kind of, they had a lot of people pass through there. And,
a lot of history.
Yeah. But it was a cool place to break in, and get a shot while I was going to school too. So it gave me a little pocket money. I got to travel and be with my Pop, and listen to stories and learn. And I was really wanting to have my first match. I come dangerously close to having it a couple of times, but but they had me ref instead, you know, which was an awesome learning experience. You really learn, and you know, you don't learn the moves, but you learn the psychology and the timing and everything as a ref, you know, and then learning the moves because it's just a matter of practicing moves, you know.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's
Yeah, but you see that different angle about it. You can hear up close how they're doing things, how they're calling things, how the crowd's reacting instantly. You're in that ring with them. You're the only person that can feel what they feel. That's a super cool angle to learn that from. All right, let's see what we got.
Yeah, and it gave me time to get bigger too.
There we go.
No, seriously, I was only
getting
about
bigger resume?
I was only about 198 pounds when I graduated, so I wanted to try to get up in the 220s, you know, to try and, you know, before I started putting tights on and getting in the ring.
What was your regimen to get put on weight? Milkshakes and potatoes, or
no, just
working out?
Just lifting and eating. Because I was young. I was young. That was gonna, you know, it was gonna happen.
You can do it real quick, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Tony Flowers hit us up and said, "What's up, gentlemen?" Nick.
Hey, man. How you doing, brother?
Was there ever a wrestler you worked with that you thought this guy or this gal is going to be a massive star, but for some reason it just never happened? How about the opposite? Was there a wrestler you thought wouldn't be long for the wrestling world, but ended up being a huge star? Thanks, fellas. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate you getting that in. Nick, anybody you ever thought was going to pop off that just for some reason never got their footing and took off like you thought? Or opposite, somebody you thought that person's never going to make it and ended up blowing up?
No, not so much to that degree, you know, that, you know, I've seen Pop used to do a thing with me where he would compare two guys and he'd say, "Hey, which one do you think is better?" And I would pick a guy and he would pick a guy. And there was 2 or 3 times that he did that with me. And I swear to God, every time we did it down the road, he was right every time, you know. And I was like, damn, you know. But a lot of times it's a matter of being in the right place at the right time as well. You know, I mean, you can have talent and you got to be in the right place at the right time. Especially now, back in the territory days, there was a lot of different places you could go to and pick from. You could work your way up the ladder and you know, now it's a lot more limited now, you know, than it was back in the territory days.
All right. Let's see. Adam Krasnoff said, "Nick, WWE Unreal took us behind the scenes of the gorilla position.
Yeah.
Was there any noticeable differences in how gorilla was set up in WWE versus your time in WCW?"
Not a whole lot of difference. There is actually one huge major difference. When I was there at WWE, when you come back through that curtain, Vince McMahon was sitting at that table every time. You know, when you come back through the curtain at WCW, they had agents and bookers, but the head MF in charge wasn't sitting there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, so when you come back through that curtain at WWE, you're talking to the head boss, make sure that, you know whether they liked it or not at the top level as soon as you get through that curtain. You know, that was the major difference. And, but as far as the setup, the way it was, the community timing and that was all really the same. The only difference was the man in charge was always there when I was there at WWE, and they didn't have that in WCW. That was really about the only difference, honestly.
Did you prefer that so you can have instant feedback? Everybody's on the same page?
Yeah, I do. It's more pressure, but I don't give a damn. I mean, if you're doing live TVs, that's pressure, you know. That's, I mean, that's so, I got to where, I want the answer. True guy. I would rather somebody hurt my feelings with the truth than blow smoke up my ass, But and that wasn't going to happen there, You go get the truth when you got through that curtain. But I wanted that, because sometimes when I first went there, I tried, I did a couple of things because they used me doing more than just ref, doing a couple of things when I first went there because of the Asian angle thing, and I did what a couple of guys asked me to do. And when I come through that curtain, Vince blew a gasket and said, "Don't ever do that." And, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, whoa, I thought that's what, and to the guy's defense, he said, "I told him to do that. It's not his fault. I asked him to do that, so,
Like
which,
asking you to do a bump or asking you they didn't go over and
although they
creative
did
or
some
what?
kind of a thing. The deal that I did was I did something where I came up and I did the old heel thing where you're on your knees and you go, "Oh no," like that. You know what I mean? Because a guy was going to come get me for something, and I did the old no, don't do it from the knees. And Vince blew a gasket about that for some reason. I guess he didn't think that it fit into that spot there or whatever it was. Because he was a perfectionist. He wanted things right. So when I come back and he was starting to jump on my ass about that. And the guy, it was Jericho, and
Okay.
Jericho, if you was wondering, Jericho had asked me to, because I'd worked with Jericho, done matches, and he had, and he was being used in a spot. So I figured, hey, he said, do it, let's do it,
Yeah.
and evidently it was, every now and then you can get something from my level. I learned, I've been in all the years I've been in the business, you find out you can do something and get it from one of the guys, and it may not necessarily be exactly what this side over here wants, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't over the top, and it really fit into the chicken shit things that they were having me do. But,
Right.
but Vince didn't want it, and Chris jumped right in and said, hey, I asked him to do that, because he was starting to get hit pretty heavy on my ass, and he
All right.
cut it off.
That was good. He stuck up for you, and good. You guys dealt with it right there, and then you move on. And like you said, it's instant feedback, and then we're moving on. We can address it next
They
time.
got another match coming on in 2 minutes. They can't stand there and dwell too much on it. You can't stand there and get in a fist fight or a large argument. You got to. They tell you what you want, and then you got to move on. And if they want to address you further, they'll address you later.
All right, let's see what we got. This is a fun one. Pyrus Wrestling said he asked Grok, which Grok is the AI for Twitter. It's the new AI, and asked Grok what 3 referees eat the most at catering throughout the years. So this is, I guess, Grok taking a random guess.
Yeah.
They say we've got number 5, Nick Patrick, a reliable snacker, they called you.
Yeah.
Number 4, Charles Robinson, persistent presence. Number 3, Tim White, a hardy participant. Then you've got number 2, Earl Hebner, a big indulger, and number 1, Kyoto, longest tenure ultimate eater.
Yeah.
Nick, would you say you're a reliable snacker?
Yeah, I would, especially if I've made a couple trips outside and come back in. I'm gonna hit that dessert bar a lot. They got some cookies and some cakes and shit over there. Nick Patrick's going to get some of it.
I was going to say, when Nick's got the munchies, are you a sweet guy? Or are you a savory?
It depends. If I hadn't had food, that when you're traveling and you're looking for a meal, there's times your body craves real food, and there's times that that you crave sweets. And usually after a little trip, if I've already had, if I've already eaten pretty good that day, then it's it does give me a hell of a sweet tooth.
What was the weakness? Cookies? Like, what's your sweet tooth?
Any damn thing. It's honestly.
That's why you're a reliable snacker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I come by. Oh, damn! Look at that. That's something I didn't see that on there later. I'm gonna give that a little try.
What do you think about the others? Charles is persistent, and Tim a hardy participant.
Yeah.
Earl, big indulger, and Kyoto, the longest tenure ultimate eater.
Yeah, that's about. They got that
pretty good.
They pegged that pretty close.
All right. Who'd you hang out with in catering? Teddy?
Just whoever.
Anybody?
We talked
whoever was there.
Whoever was there.
Okay. Let's see what we got. Oh, here we go. See, it started a whole thing here. Ash Perez said, I asked Grok who eats the most from Conrad's friends at catering at Starrcade. Number 4, Paul Bromwell. 3, Dave Silva. 2, Pondwater Dave. And the eater of caterings, Casio. Well, look, Grok's nailing this. Grog is nailing this. I'm a grazer. I'm going to go back and just keep grazing the whole time. So that's pretty good. Let's see. Pondwater's can pretty eat. Silva, I know, can eat. And Bromwell's a sneaky eater. If you follow him, he's a food E to the max. He's just thin. So you would never think it. Let's see. AK wants to know Sid Vicious versus Lee Scott from WCW 1989 has gained popularity on YouTube due to its intensity in which Lee sold every move. Do you recall working this match, Nick?
Yeah, I vaguely remember that because I know Lee. He trained with us at Deep South, the old Deep South.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's one of the guys that we trained. I helped train him way long time ago, and yeah, he did. He had a couple of matches where he would just keep coming and they'd hammer his ass. But he took tremendous bumps, and he would let them do things to him, and he'd say, "Yeah, I'll do that," and they would throw him and bam, and he died. Yeah, he took good bumps, and he was so young and green when he would tell him to keep firing. He didn't understand that when the openings came, and there's certain openings that happen. You don't just all of a sudden just, that's called going from 0 to 100, and he would every once in a while go from 0 to 100 and get cut off stiffly. but as far as getting hammered from start to finish, he liked taking those crazy bumps. So,
really?
a lot of that was on him. Yeah.
Did he?
But he did get clobbered a few times for going from 0 to 100 and say, "Okay, well, I'm getting mine." And he'd jump up and start firing. All of a sudden, wham! Like, oh God! and they'd throw him weird through the ropes where he'd take some crazy ass bump. Like, oh God!
If you're taking bumps from Sid, you were taking some monster shots. So
yeah, he did some different things. That thing where he looked like he was going to do Scott Hall's finish, but then he would do a whirly bird and then let him go. He hurt a couple people doing that, and they made him quit doing it because you can't control your body. You're upside down, you're 8 feet in the air, and you're doing a helicopter spin, and you cannot control how you land. And it looked really cool, but it hurt the hell out of a couple of guys. So he couldn't do that one anymore.
Well, he was cut, but he was kind of a thin guy,
Yeah.
Like not very, you can see right there, not very bulky, but he's lean and mean, but not very bulky guy.
Yeah.
I heard, am I not mistaken? Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong guy, but do you have any memory? Did he try to be a ref at one point?
Yeah, I think he did a little bit of ref work. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I know he did some ref work.
Yeah, I feel like early 90s he slipped over in that ref world a little bit.
We had a WCW show in, I think it was in Cincinnati or somewhere. And it was one of those deals where it was one of those Saturday night shows. And we had, back in the day, they'd have shows every now and then. There'd be like 25 or 30 matches on there. By the end of the night, the people were just like, oh God, and so were we, but I don't know what the situation was, but I ended up being the only ref at this TV taping. And it was like, oh my God. And I trained this guy. I said, I ain't doing all those matches. I can't do it. I'm not remembering 30 matches, 30 finishes and going out there and not getting the bathroom. I can't do it, So I had an extra shirt, and so he ended up doing the reffing, and he did several of them because they were like, that was back when we was doing like 30 matches a night, so I didn't tell how many I did. But if it wasn't for Lee, I'd been really a terrible night, a terrible situation. And I don't remember what happened. I think one of the other guys was hurt, and we didn't have a whole bunch of refs. At first we only had just a couple of us, just me and Pee Wee. And they didn't bring a bunch of other guys in until Vince started using 4 or 5 guys. When they saw that Vince had a bunch of different refs, and then after me and Pee Wee got hurt a couple of times, they realized, well, we need more guys. But they about killed me and Randy Anderson for. Just the two of us, and something would happen to Randy, and it ended up being just me, and there wasn't no way. I did an entire NWO pay-per-view, but doing a Saturday night TV taping where there's 30 matches and 30 different finishes, and somebody's gonna come say, "Hey, I want you to do this package." And wait a minute, I'm doing 30 matches. Don't somebody ask me to do a friggin' spot, man. You know. So, but yeah, but
30,
that's
30
Lee
finishes
got
is
thrown
a
in.
lot to deal with.
Saturday Night Fire that night.
Yeah, it was a lot to deal with. I know Lee from he's a Myrtle Beach guy. And had a little run with Cactus Jack at one time. They had a little feud. They first started together. I think they tagged together for a little bit, and then had a little. I think a trilogy when Cactus Jack was first coming up, and he was in there. So that was a fun time for him. A blast from the past. Yeah, and if y'all have not seen it, Adam's right. Go to YouTube. There's you can see that Sid Vicious and Lee Scott match where they are.
Yeah, it looks like it kills him. Yeah,
yeah. Every move is just it looks devastating.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, when Brian Pillman was doing the loose cannon gimmick in WCW, would he act nuts behind the scenes to maintain kayfabe, or what was he like off screen?
He did in public. He did that, but backstage, when we're getting ready to go out, he wasn't trying to convince the boys. We were all a little bit nuts anyway. It wasn't that far of a stretch honestly. But no, he didn't try to kayfabe the boys or anything. That's backstage and guerrilla and going out. That's our safe spot. We're getting ready to go out and perform and get on our stage. That's to make our living. So it's no, he the backstage is kind of sacred. You don't have to try and kayfabe the boys and convince them.
You don't have to, be what do they call? Oh, the method actor. You don't have to be the method actor back there.
Yeah, you can unplug for a minute.
Let's see. Sheila Moeller hits us up and says, Nick, what's the first movie you ever remember watching in a theater, and have you seen it lately? Does it still hold up? Ooh.
The first movie I can remember going and seeing is
I don't even know.
I know that they took me to go see little kid movies, but I really can't remember any of them. The first movie I can really remember Pop taking us to when my sister and I was little, and he took is and you're gonna think what? But Papillon had just come out.
Papillon
with Steve McQueen had just come out.
Okay.
And he took us to go see that. I can remember, and I can't remember going to with Pop going and seeing much before that. But I know we went and saw all the little Disney stuff as kids. But I can't remember any of that. But the first movie that I remember, family movie, that was more of an adult type thing, was Papillon when it first come out.
I was about to say, do you remember seeing it later?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. I even got a remake of it.
Do they?
Yeah.
Did you watch the remake? Is it any good?
Part of it. I didn't watch. I hadn't sat and watched start to finish anything in a long time, man. But because that's a long ass movie. Yeah, it's really long.
I'll have to check it out.
And it's based on a true story too. So it's. Is
it a war movie?
No, it's about a guy that's put in a French prison, and they send him to to the French Guyana, the island, the Devil's Island or whatever, and he's like the only guy that ever escaped from it.
Oh, I'm just reading up on it. He is a safe cracker.
Yeah,
and he goes to France, goes to a labor camp. Dustin Hoffman is his co-star.
Yeah. He had a good part in it. Good movie. Right. It's depressing, but it's like it's long, but it's got hope at the end. But
150 minutes, so it's just 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a long movie. I'll
have to check it out.
But that's storytelling.
Get your questions in. Nathan, you hit us in the super chat with no question. If you want a question, make sure you get it either way.
Well, that was different. We went down a whole completely different avenue right there with Papillon, man.
Yeah, dude,
That was a different question.
I
That's
can't
good.
remember the first movie I saw in theaters. I was trying to think of it.
Yeah, that was as far back as I could get. I mean, I know I went and saw kid movies, but I just really can't. That's the first one I can remember. Is like from because I was in elementary. So I was in elementary school. I wasn't even in middle school yet. I don't think when it come out. Not sure what year it was.
I'd have to ask my parents. I don't remember. I mean, I remember going like as a teenager with my own money.
Yeah.
I still don't even know if I remember what the first movie I saw, but I mean, I'd say this all the time. Somebody would say, "Hey, we started talking about this movies you wish would come to the theaters now, so you go watch it like older movies." And I'm always like, Jurassic Park, like changed viewing, like it was crazy. And I remember seeing some of what was the Saving Private Ryan, where they had like the surround sound and you could hear a bunch of stuff behind you. I remember that was a big deal, but man,
I think from my day, one of the movies that was that scared me the most and was impactful because I was young when it came out was The Exorcist.
Yes,
that scares the crap out of people. When you're a kid too, especially. Like I had an uncle that really freaked out. That's freaked a lot of adults out, honestly. But that man, what a crazy ass movie. Oh, yeah.
My buddy Jimbo tells about he snuck and saw it. Him and his friends told their parents they were going to see another one.
Yeah, they
snuck in there, and of course, parents found out about it.
Yeah, when he couldn't sleep for a month.
He said he came home and his dad hid under his bed to teach him a lesson. Waited till he brushed his teeth, got in bed, said goodnight, laid down, cut the lights out, and laid there a few minutes. And all of a sudden, his dad started kicking his bed and pushing it up in the air. And he said he went to screaming and jumped. And he did. He goes, it was weeks before I could go to sleep.
I had a buddy come that I went to high school with, and he's come spend the night over at my house one night. And it was after The Exorcist was out, and they had another possession movie come out where it showed this mom laying in the bed, and the two little kids come up and they cracked open the bedroom door and they looking in it, and her head spun around. She goes, "Who are you?" That was like one of the previews of it, right? Well, my buddy was like superstitious bad, and that just freaked him out. So our house that we lived in was like right on the corner of the subdivision. So there were street lights all around us, right? And my bedroom was in the front, and you go out my door, there's the front room, and that goes to the kitchen. Well, the street light was shining, and the light was coming through the window, man. And my buddy called me Hamilton, right? He goes, "Hamilton, I need a drink of water." And I said, "Well, the kitchen's right in there, dude. Go get it. What the hell? I'm not going to go get it for you." He goes, "No. I can't walk through there. Look how that light's going through the window, man. Look at that." What? And I said, "Dude, it's the freaking light. It's the street light." And to shut him up, I started to go. I said, "Okay, let's go. I'll go walk with you, right?" So he wasn't going to walk through that damn front because of the light. He's super scared and superstitious. Now, my mom is laying in bed listening to all this shit, and she heard him talking about that commercial and knew that commercial freaked him out. So he was going to go to the kitchen, down the hallway, past the bedrooms, and go around the back way to the kitchen to get his water now, right? Soon as we went by my mom's room, my mom went, "Who are you?" And I swear to God, my friend grabbed me and threw me over his shoulder and ran down the freaking hallway with me. And we ran into the bedroom and we took a big bump. And he looked at me and he goes, "Hamilton, your freaking mom is possessed." It was awesome, man.
That's hilarious.
At least he took you with him. Too much over there after that.
He picked you up.
Yes, he did, and ran down the hallway with me over his freaking shoulder. Yes,
it's a good friend. He saved you instead of pushing you down.
Yeah. I was laughing, and she was laughing, and he was terrified, man. I had another buddy come spend the night. We had some people try to break into they stole my mom's purse earlier that night.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'd gone to a concert with a buddy of mine. She picked us up, and I knew that she was, could tell she was upset. Pop was on the road all the time, right? So my buddies come spend the night, and evidently these kids, it was two kids, And they snatched her pocketbook, and she chased one of them, and the other one tried to hit her with a car. So she jumped in between. You know, she's in the parking lot of a grocery store, right? She got with my little sister at the grocery store and all that. So thank God she didn't have her pistol in her pocketbook, you know, because she always had a gun, but she put it underneath the seat before she went in the store. So they didn't get her gun. So she picks me and my buddy up from the concert, and she tells me what happened. We get home, and I'm laying there, and I hear this car about 4 different times. It's loud pipes, right? Come by the house, and then we had a park. The guy across the street had a big ranch, and he sold it to the county, and they turned it into a park, and it just sat, you know, property for a long time. And I heard that damn car pull over and park. So I got up, man, and I went to the bedroom. I said, "Hey, Mom," I said, "that car tried to hit you. The guy just stole your pocket, but it had loud pipes." She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, a car with loud pipes has just circled our house 4 times and went over there and parked right across the street."
Whoa.
So she said, "Oh, really?" And now my friend is freaking out. Mom comes out with the pistol, right? She comes down, she opens up the front door, and one of those guys had come out and got out of the car and was messing around with her car.
Oh
And
no.
she said, "Hey, you little son of a bitch, what are you doing about my car?" And he started trying to talk. He said, I've got repossession papers." And she goes, "Repossess my ass, you're gonna die." And she goes, "Pow, pow." She fired about 3 or 4 shots over in the
Oh,
ground by the car, and they hauled ass, running, jumped in, tires squealing, threw her. They still had her pocketbook, threw it out the freaking window. The police found it over on the side of the road and shit.
jeez.
So our yard quit getting rolled. nobody,
Like they're
nobody,
doing everything, y'all.
nobody messed around over at the Hamilton household after that, and not too many folks came spent the night anymore either.
Not too many
His
people.
mom is possessed, and she will shoot your ass.
That's it. That's it. Let's see. Nathan hit us up and said, "Who are some of your favorite commentators besides the drunkest commentary team in wrestling? And do you have any stories about my favorites, Gordon Soley and Bobby Heenan?"
I do a good one about Gordon. Bobby was a super nice guy. You know, him every now and then, him and Mean Gene and slide by and have a little puff with me and Mickey J every once in a while. All my stories end up having something to do with weed. My one with Gordon is the same thing. Gordon, when we was doing Georgia Championship Wrestling, he would come in and he would do all the commentary and they'd do interviews afterwards, right? And I was the only one of the guys that lived on the south side. I had to ride right by the airport to go home, so they asked me to stay and give them a ride. You know, which was cool about me. You know, and back I was young and stupid back in the day. You know, and everybody smoked, and I had roaches all in my ashtray and shit. You know, this is like early '80s. I was just a dumbass. You know, hadn't gotten any trouble yet. You know, nobody knew. So when I had to take Gordon to the airport, man, I knew he had to do interviews. So I'd go out there, man, and I'd clean my car out and spray, and I'd pick out all those roaches and be put away and stuff, you know. And I did this for months, right? So I went to go do so, and I was talking to a guy named Steve O. He come in there and was wrestling for a little while. And I said, "I got to take Gordon to the airport." I said, "I go run out and get those roaches out and clean my car up." He goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, man." I said, "I go clean my car up. I don't want Gordon." He said, "Gordon smokes." I said, "No." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, really?" And I had some good, you know. So I come by and I would go in to get my car, and I knew the door that Gordon would come out, and I'd pull right up to her. So he'd just take a little walk down the sidewalk, and there I was, boom, he'd get right in my car, and would take off, and I'd take him to the Atlanta airport. So he gets in my car this time now, right? And after months of me doing this, and I told him, I said, "You know, Gordon," I said, "You know how I always have been for the longest time coming out here and then coming and getting my car and stuff?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "It's because I've been coming out here and cleaning it up a little bit," and I pulled out my bag of roaches. And I said, "Because I've been cleaning these out of the ashtray." He went, "Well, there's no need to do that for me, babe." I said, "Well, that's what I heard." I said, I happen to have one if you'd like to participate on the way to the airport." And he says, "Oh, I believe I will." So I'm taking Gordon to the airport now. And I've got some good, you know. So we smoke, and he, you know, smokes most of it with me, and he
All right.
stops after he hits it maybe five or six times, and then he stops, So I get him to the airport, and hey, babe, thanks for the ride, man. I'll see you next week. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Boom. I take off. I go. So when I see Gordon next week, I come up, man. The first thing he comes up and he pats me on the shoulder. He goes, "Hey, babe, next time, give me the heads up and let me know if this is 1 or 2 toker." he said, that was not 6 or 7 toker. That was 1 or 2 toker. He said, what had happened is he smoked with me. He got out to his gate and he got high sitting there. And he sat there and they called his flight and he just sat there and they boarded his flight and he sat there. And his flight took off.
Oh, no.
And he sat there. And he had to rebook on the next flight. Higher than hell. So he said, please don't ever do that to me again, Dan.
You destroyed Gordon Soley.
Yeah, I did.
He blew him up. He blew him up. That's fantastic. Who would you say? Look, I know that's tough. You've worked with a lot of people, but who's some of maybe your favorite commentary team ever? I know that's hard to narrow down.
Heenan was great with anybody. He was one of the best side guys ever. Back in the day, Jesse was a very good one of the side guys. Him and Gorilla back in the day, I really enjoyed listening to him. I like Tony Schiavone was another guy that blended in good with several different people and create, as far as a favorite team, it's really hard to say because back when I was, until it became like WCW and, it was usually like just Gordon or just one guy usually. And another guy would be doing interviews or something but the guy running the commentary was usually just one guy, and, so Gordon was the guy that I saw the most, but Jim Ross is also somebody else.
Sure.
Is another him. I think Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone is probably, I would have to say, would be the best team that I can think of. And there's young kids and new combinations and people that are very, very good. But just from my day and from my memory of all the different combinations, I would have to say that Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone together were really good.
Yeah, maybe a little, but like you said, Gordon Soley, that was your dude.
Yeah, hell yeah, and he smoked, so we were tight.
Did you ever hit it again with him?
Only a couple of times. He was very cautious after that. He'd hit 1 or 2, and that
was 1 or 2.
Yeah, I'd say this is 1 or 2 toker. He said, "Okay, are you sure?" Yeah. I don't want to just get. I might be able to just get a contact high off of this one, babe.
Yeah, you might just want to ride while I smoke.
Yeah, he smoked a little bit with me. He never smoked a whole one with me ever again, though. I guarantee you that.
Let's see. Eddie the Elbow Lopez hit us up and said, Nick,
all right.
WCW or WWE, which locker room was way louder or rowdier than the rest before showtime? Were they the same? Was one a little more cutting up and loud, or were they? How were they?
It depends on. I would have to say that the wildest locker room that we ever got was when things would get out of control overseas at the end of an overseas trip. In WCW, we was wide open in some places. I mean, and especially when we had taken over in ratings and stuff, and we were traveling, we was doing those 300-day-a-year runs, and man, there was some locker rooms. There was a lot of locker rooms that tell the guys after their match, they just sit and smoke right there in the locker room, man. So drinking, they had beers for us, and it's, not always. Now, I'm not in the States, but there was, there was a couple of different times.
Got a little loose, huh?
Yeah, man, we just said F it, but send us home then.
Is there any, I was going to say unspoken rules, but any even spoken rules about the locker room? Hey, don't do this. Don't do this. I know some of it's kind of just common courtesy, but
More
was
so
there ever
now.
laid out
No,
stuff?
no, back in the older day, it was more common sense, stuff.
Yeah.
And then it got to where when, there were so many people jammed into locker rooms when they're doing all these TVs like they do now, you have to pretty much have, there has to be some rules because people will just leave shit laying everywhere.
Yeah.
And somebody's got to pick that up, and it's not fair to the people that are left behind, ring crew stuff, to have to go and clean up something that looks like they had a freaking food fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, they have locker room police, people that watching the guys, young guys are taught from an early age to pick your own shit up, clean your own stuff up, pick up your own tape, your own stuff. Don't leave stuff laid on the floor, bottles, trash, nothing else, clean up after yourself, be a professional. That's taught now, and they hope they're still teaching it now, but from the time, and the kids that I'm using now, they know these things. That's one of the rules, at my company. You don't leave shit laying around. You pick up after yourself. Be an adult, nobody's your butler or your maid. You pick your.
I'm sure it kind of evolved over the years with, coming into, now we got music, we got video games. I know there was a lot of board games, all kind of stuff going on.
I got kicked out.
It said you're still there.
You're out of here, Hamilton.
Look, it still got you. Look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, now you went away. You were on there. That's fun. A little technical glitch. I was saying, I'm sure it changed throughout the years. It started with, now we're jamming music, and I know there was games. I know cards and dominoes, and then the video games came along. I'm sure it's changed throughout the years on what you had to deal with in a locker room.
Yeah, there's not as many games in the locker room now. And Vince cut out all that stuff because we had Nintendos and stuff hooked up. Me and Booker T was playing Madden football one time, and we didn't realize it because they had all the different monitors set up so you could watch, what was happening out there. And when we plugged into that monitor, somehow that game got into the loop and the feed, and it was showing up on the Jumbotron. And me and Booker's just playing. We're playing. He's
playing Madden on the
gym. Yeah, playing Madden. He's kicking my ass, and all of a sudden somebody come running. Vince is coming. He saw the guy. He said, "Cut the game. It's up on the Jumbotron." And me and Booker put that shit up, and that guy think, "Man, we put that shit up quick, man." I don't know who's doing that.
Let's see. Well, let's see. Blake Matos said, if you had to referee for 8 hours straight, what snack are you hiding in your bag to survive? Ooh, that was a good one, Blake.
Wow.
What are you sneaking in your bag? I feel like you got to have some protein or
if
some
I'm going to
carbs.
have to,
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have that, and I'm going to have something kind of edibles. if I'm pulling 8 hours, then I'm going to have some gummies and some brownies. I'm going to have some real food, but I'm going to gummy and brownie my dessert. If I'm out there busting it in the ring.
At least you won't care about working 8 hours.
No, heck no, man. After dessert, all will be happy, man. Let's just roll.
By the way, James said, how cool would it be to play PlayStation on the Titantron? That would be pretty awesome, man.
I wish we could have seen it, because we was looking at this little ass monitor in the locker room. Everybody else is sitting out there in the arena watching this football game up on the damn Jumbotron. We didn't have any clue it was on there. Oh shit.
Well, I gotta ask, who was better, you or Booker?
Oh, Booker, he was way better than me. Yeah, he was good. He was real good. He was good with the controllers.
Was he good, or were you bad?
Both. I had good strategy, but I was shit with the controller. I was. He could just be running the ball and let me go to tackle him and just stop it and then juke at the last second.
Oh, no,
okay.
He's toying with you.
Oh, damn it! Damn it, man. Yeah, he was good. He was really good. Yeah, I had good strategy, and I could, and if he had an off day, I could give him a good game, but I wouldn't. The times I think I maybe beat him twice, and of all the times that we played throughout the year, I might have.
You probably would have beat him that time y'all got cut off on the Jumbotron.
Might have. I think I had a huge lead, man.
He might have set that up, so they had to cut
Yeah,
it
he
off.
did. He said, "Somebody tell Vince." He did
Where-
not just say that.
what else did you like playing backstage? You ever get in that Domino's crew? Were you a
No,
cards guy?
I wasn't really a card guy. I played cards a little bit. There was in WCW towards. There was a little couple months afterwards in hotel rooms that played little cards and drank and order pizza and shit. But
Not much.
not a lot. Not a big card guy. I'm more. I used to carry a guitar around. I just played that. Kill time.
Let's see what we got. Karen Cole said, Nick, big fan of yours and Deep South. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. I always try to check you out when I get over to Atlanta.
Thank you.
But wanted to know, what's the weirdest object you've seen used as a foreign object in a match?
I'm going to say this because I would just talk to some people that interviewed me to talk to the Dark Side of the Ring people again. And I told this story when I was an agent. I was working with Big Boss Man, Big Ray, and I forgot who he was with, but he had this hardcore match. You remember the match where Boss Man took a bicycle and used the bicycle, and Dusty Rhodes was doing commentary. He goes, "He got a bicycle. What the hell is he doing? What is he doing with a bicycle?" He made this big deal about Ray having a bicycle. I'll never forget that because we used to when I would do some hardcore matches with guys, when I was an agent. Well, we'd get together and we would scan the building and look for different unique places and settings or gimmicks or something that we could use that would make it look different, And me and Ray was scanning the building looking for different shit we could use for props and places that they could fight and break stuff. And all of a sudden, we went by this bike. I didn't think anything of it. He goes, I use that damn bicycle. And it was a bicycle that had to have been somebody that worked at the building had to use it to get around, the building because it was sitting there inside the building, So I'm sure that there was somebody watching at home that was to watch that and went, "Holy shit, that's my bicycle!" But Ray ended up getting that bicycle and using it. I looked at him. "What are you going to do? Run over him with the damn bicycle?" He said, "No, I'll hit him with it like a gimmick." I said, "That's different. All right, let's do it."
Definitely, definitely out of the ordinary.
That's something that they had never seen before. I think the bicycle had to be the gimmick.
Nice.
One.
Nice. All right. I didn't know where you were going to go because you were involved with Russo a while and y'all had some wild stuff. So you never know what was going to be coming out.
Poor Judy Bagwell on a pole. And Mercy Sakes alive.
You never know what's going to happen there. Nick, man, another hour has flown by before we get out of here. Of course, Deep South Wrestling right there in the heart of Atlanta. You guys just had an incredible event. We talked about it last week where Nausism and a couple others put their belts on the line. I take it that was a great event all around.
Oh, yes. Well, we had a little surprise event, too. We had a 3-match show at Lakewood Amphitheater now. We're going to be doing that.
Wow.
We're negotiating a deal with them, but we're going to be doing that a couple more times this year at different shows. At the end of the concert, they want people to stay and party and have some fun. So we're giving them a small, not a full long wrestling card because it's already at the end of the show, but we're giving them a hot 3-match card so that people can stay and have a good time. And we did our first one at Lakewood this weekend. Nice. And it rocked, man. And people was gathered around and we had a great time. And it's excellent too, because my concern was after a concert, you've got people there partying all night long and then they're going to come here. And I wanted to be able to make sure we had enough security. We get to use their security. So, that was already there. So it works out perfect. And it was a great time, man. The people had a blast. Lakewood was happy. Deep South was happy. And then the next day we did Monday Night Garage Show. We was back for our second show there. And it was standing room only. So we had a really outstanding weekend, man. It was a lot of fun. And we've got some shows coming up at one of the big events in Atlanta this week coming up as well, or I think it's this week. Summer Shade, yes. August
22nd through the 24th. 4 shows in 2 days at the Summer Shade Festival, the Grant Park Conservancy. That's going to be super fun. And Deep South, you guys are going to be out there to celebrate the end of summer and show off that incredible roster you got at Deep South.
Yeah, and like I said, it's an outdoor event, man. Summer Shade is huge, and we get to do different things. We've been at the ballpark up in Gwinnett, and with the stripers, and it's about getting new eyes on us in different places. And this is one of them. We did Summer Shade last year, and it was a blast. And it's going to be even bigger this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. The crew is ready, and like I said, the people we're generating new fans, everywhere we go. And this is a great opportunity for us, and it's a lot of fun too. So this is one of the bigger events too around Atlanta. So come check it out, man. Summer Shade's awesome, and come check out Deep South Wrestling, because we're gonna throw it down at Summer Shade.
Summer Shade, and then we'll talk about it next week as it gets closer. You also will be back at New Realm Brewing in Atlanta. Right there on August 31st. When that gets closer, we'll have some more of the card details and some fun stuff about that. If you want to go, you want to see all their live events, you want to check out that merch like Nick is rocking, all of that is at your fingertips. We are deepsouth.com. You see live events, you'll see merch, you'll see ways you can get involved. You can also, it's got the link to their YouTube, their Facebook, and Instagram at Deep South Wrestling. Follow them all across there. Nick, man, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for answering our questions. We appreciate everybody. Nathan was there. He said the Lakewood show was fun. How about that?
All right, man. Yeah, that's Nathan. That's part of my announce team right there, man. This
was he
voice of violence,
himself
man.
as the drunkest commentary team in wrestling? Is that him?
That's it, man. That is it.
Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know who was calling himself. Maybe it's him.
They're very good, man. You have to check them out. And we do live commentary during our shows. It's different. When you come to one of our shows, we've got commentary going on. It's
you hear it on site.
Yeah, you hear it going live awesome. While you're watching the show. So and they're very good. You got to come check us out.
Nathan, appreciate you hitting us in that super chat.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Appreciate your question, and we look forward to seeing y'all live on that show where everybody can hear Deep South Wrestling. Nathan, and I guess who's his partner in the drunkest commentary team?
Drewski. It's the voice of violence and Drewski, man. They get Drewski got with Drewski with the brewski.
Drewski with the brewski. Love it. Gotta love it. Thanks everybody for hitting us up with questions. James Weston. I know John, Adam, Mike. We had Blake and so many. Eddie. Appreciate Tony
Thank
Flowers, everybody for hitting us up. We graciously appreciate it. I saw 40 ounce popped in here for a second. He was on his way to a movie with his little one, 20 ounce. So, So
Zach, you'll be asking his little one what was his first movie he went and saw.
Yeah.
Well, I went and saw this movie with my dad.
It wasn't Papillon. It was not it.
No, it wasn't Papillon.
Zach said National Happy Prosecco Day. Okay.
All right.
There you go. Get a part of that.
We'll take it.
We found out that you were a reliable snacker. We found out that I was the eater of caterings at Starrcade, thanks to AI. So a lot going on. We talked a little Lee Scott. That's always fun. Talked some Springfield, Missouri. So y'all get your questions in. As you can see, we can talk about anything here. Anything and everything.
We talk about The Exorcist and everything, man.
We love it. Whatever y'all want to talk about, we will talk about every single week right here on Podcast Heat Wrestling YouTube channel, live every single week. Nick, once again, thank you, man. Appreciate everybody for joining us. We'll be back here again next week on the Podcast Heat Wrestling YouTube channel. For Mr. Nick Patrick, I am the Casio Kid. We'll see you guys and gals next time.